start for Shloshim, for 30 days, right or wrong. There'll be some days you wake up and you think, I got this today. And then by lunchtime, you want to wear it right here. Expect that. This will come in waves. No matter how strong those waves are, you are stronger than each wave and all of them together. So with that ribbon on, you'll tear it now from the side or from the bottom. Okay, it works. Did it tear? Okay. Repeat after me. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Dayan ha'emet. We say it means, blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe. We don't even pretend to understand or know the way the world works, but we affirm that you are the eternal judge. With that, I'll invite you to come over and where you feel comfortable, wherever you feel comfortable, we'll adjust accordingly. Take a seat. Jules, the full time, I just want you to know, I'm giving you a big thank you. Thank you. Broadcast what time we're doing this. Let's go ahead and wait in case anyone might be here. The bite takes you the time. Are all of the grandkids?
And she's playing.
She's long.
Is she absorbing this? Understand?
I love her winter coat this morning.
The hat. Fantastic.
It's a handsome coffin. If coffins can be called handsome.
This one just has been. It's a beautiful cemetery. And this gate is open twice a week, but there are also little breaks you'll see in the wall, or the end there. It's always open. There's access here all the time.
So this is her grave. And mine will be next to it.
A long time from now, please God.
Jeremy and I aren't planning on moving anywhere anytime soon, so we're stuck with this no matter what.
I have plots in all 3 different cities.
That's awesome.
So you collect like Phoebe, just.
I was with my parents on Long Island, and then I went back to Savannah, and here we are.
Well, maybe someone in Savannah will want to take them off your hands.
back.
You would do it, me? Would that look
I
me?
always appreciate the opportunity to try to do it.
Are they still joining? If they are, we can. It's 11:01. Okay, 2 more minutes.
Alright. Good morning. I want to especially welcome those who are not here physically with us this morning, but we know there are so many surrounding this family and their loss with love. And I want you to know that everyone here feels it. So as we pay our respects to Phoebe Kerness, we begin first with a psalm. Achad sha'alti meit Adonai otah avakei. Achad sha'alti meit Adonai otah avakei. Shivti b'veit Adonai kol yemei chayai, lachazot b'noam Adonai, ulevaker b'heichalo. Lachazot b'noam Adonai, ulevaker b'heichalo. Psalm 27. One thing do I ask of God, for this alone do I yearn, to dwell in the house of God all the days of my life, to see the goodness of God, and to find sanctuary in God's presence. Death has taken our beloved Phoebe Frances Kerness, and our friends grieve in a darkened world. In their silence, there is lamentation. In their tears, there is loneliness. Lost in their sorrow, may they feel the presence of so many loving friends and family. Hear them, O God, and be with them. For Phoebe's love, which death cannot sever. For her companionship, shared along life's path and which continues through the tenderness of memory. For the gifts of her heart and mind that brought joy and happiness and is now a precious remembrance. For all these and more, we give our thanks to God. Mourning is the price we pay for having the courage to love others. Even in grief, we know that the wonder of human life is complex and too magnificent to be memorialized in endless pain. The gifts of spirit our loved one gave us cannot be measured or weighed, nor can they be lost or even tarnished by time. Even in our darkest hours, we know that some of their light and their warmth will always be with us, bringing comfort and courage, and in the fullness of time, healing and peace. In this time of grief, we listen to the voice of our sacred scriptures that brings us the ever new message of God's nearness. It tells us of our kinship with the Creator in light as in darkness, in joy as in sorrow, in life as in death. From Psalm 15, Adonai, who may abide in your house? Who may dwell in your holy mountain? Those who are upright, who do justly, who speak the truth within their hearts, who do not slander others or wrong them or bring shame upon them, who scorn the lawless but honor those who revere God, who give their word and come what may, do not retract, who do not exploit others, who do not take bribes. Those who live in this way shall never be shaken. In the 23rd Psalm, if you care to join me, you're welcome to do so. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Psalm 121. Esaina el hehari me'ayin yavo ezri. Esaina el hehari me'ayin yavo ezri. Ezri me'im Adonai oseh shamayim va'aretz. Ezri me'im Adonai oseh shamayim va'aretz. I lift my eyes to the mountains. What is the source of my help? My help comes from Adonai, maker of heaven and earth. In his sorrow, Job cried out, Adonai natan va'Adonai lekach, yehi shem Adonai mevorach. God has given, God has taken away. Blessed be the name of God. An ancient people, we are well acquainted with grief and with the valley of shadows. Death and sorrow are not strangers to us. Yet the centuries have taught us that a good name endures beyond the grave, and that there is strength in faith. With Job, we say Adonai Natan. God, you have given. You gave us a loved one who will not, who cannot be forgotten. For all that was good and enduring in her life, we offer the deepest thanks of our hearts. Adonai lekach, God, you have taken away. We pray for the strength to turn our broken hearts into an altar of trust before which we acknowledge your sovereignty and love and say, Yehi Shem Adonai Mevorach. Blessed be the name of God, now and forever. We take a few moments now for silent prayer, silent reflection. Call up those fondest memories or time shared with Phoebe to feel the strength being sent from prayers so far and so many as they reach us here today. The words of our mouths and the meditations of our hearts be acceptable unto you, O God. Our tradition teaches she has lived well, who has laughed often and loved much, who has gained the respect of intelligent adults and the love of little children, who has left the world better than she found it, who has never lacked appreciation for her family, friends, has always looked for the best in others and given the best she had. Her life, our tradition says, is an inspiration, and her memory is a blessing. From the joy of watching Phoebe laugh, to her love of children and family. By every measure that matters, Phoebe Kerness's life was an inspiration. Everything for Phoebe began with family. She lived for her family, and her love for them knew no bounds. Sometimes she showed it in interesting ways, especially sourced milk and eggs, substitute mayonnaise, carob chips. But the extra time and effort she put into healthy food and so much more for her kids was a sign of the thoughtfulness she felt for them and for all children. She cared about their needs, and she had a passion for showing her care and her love. Love in the family began with the heads of household. Phoebe and Jules were inseparable, soulmates. They had known each other for a few years, but then came the fateful New Year's Eve party, where though they came with other dates, they left with each other. Phoebe literally drank the Kool-Aid that night, and as Jules said, it was romance from that moment on. Phoebe became and would remain Jules' anchor, his best friend, and the love of his life. This has been an awful year in so many ways and on so many levels. And I know the separation Jules was forced to maintain from Phoebe was particularly difficult and painful. But I remember the Friday night of their anniversary when we held a COVID-safe drive-in service for Shabbat. And Jules pulled into his parking spot, practically jumping out of the driver's seat of his car, beaming as he told me, they let me see her. They let us be together. It was the first time in I don't know how long, and his smile and his joy that evening said everything. The home Phoebe and Jules built together was one of warmth and welcoming, as each of her children have experienced since the news of Phoebe's passing. People from their childhood, from elementary and middle school, have been coming out of the woodwork to share how Phoebe made them feel, how welcomed they felt when they came to her house, how in some cases she'd been like a mother to them too. Phoebe had a deep and strong maternal instinct. She extended it to her children's friends, to her children's spouses, who she treated as her children, not just in law, but in love. When you needed someone to take care of you, she was there, and there was simply no one better. Even during the most difficult times of her son Danny's medical needs, his tragic passing, Phoebe was a rock, and right by his side. And she extended that love and caring even further. First with the children in the daycare she ran at home, then later when she opened a daycare facility, and then with several foster children that she and Jules cared for in her home over a number of years as well. She taught kids in religious school and continued to have not only a passion, but an ability to connect with kids throughout her life. Her grandkids loved to visit, to sit and talk with her, sometimes for hours. Phoebe had other passions as well. She was passionate about welcoming interfaith families into synagogues and the Jewish community. She wrote a curriculum to help guide parents raising children in interfaith homes, and served for several years on the URJ Outreach Commission. Phoebe was passionate about and deeply involved with the promotion of breastfeeding, seeing it as an important contributor toward healthy family relationships, childcare, mental health, and well-being. She was passionate about history, serving as a docent at Mikveh Israel, chairing its museum committee, and running elder hostel programs together with Jules. She also made her family travel to any number of historic sites on family vacations throughout the country, most likely taking a particularly scenic route to get there. And Phoebe, it must also be said, was passionate about her stuff. She loved her stuff. She traveled with her stuff, and she held on to her stuff. From scraps of paper with phone messages on them to photo albums filled with photos, all the photos taken over the years, to baby teeth, hair, you named it, she kept it. Maybe her sentimentality and desire to collect and save everything went a bit far when she held on to, say, decades-old pan liners or something along those lines, but it was the same sentimentality that also led her to hold on to dear friends, too. She kept in touch with friends, particularly girlfriends, going all the way back to camp when she was 10 years old. It takes skill and commitment to be able to keep your good friends close, and Phoebe had both. She has lived well, was laughed often, and loved much. Who's gained the respect of intelligent adults and the love of little children. Who's always looked for the best in others and given the best she had. Truly, by every measure that matters, Phoebe's life was an inspiration. May her memory remain for all who knew her and all who loved her, an ever-abiding blessing. And let us say, O God, into your care we entrust the spirit of Phoebe Kerness, for you keep faith with your children in death as in life. Sustain us that we may meet with serenity the mysteries that lie ahead, knowing that when we walk through the valley of the shadow of death, you, O God, are with us, a loving friend in whom we put our trust. You are the light of our life, our hope in eternity. We rise now for the words of El Maleh Rachamim. El Maleh Rachamim Shochin B'Meromim Mitzei Menucha Nechona Tachet Kanfei HaShechina Im Kedoshim V'Techorim Kezohar Harakia Mazhirim Et Nishmat Penina Tzipora Bat David Ubrina Gittel, Shehalacha La'olama. Ba'al harachamim yastireha, B'seter knafav la'olamim, B'yitzror hachayim et nishmata. Adonai hu nachalata, V'tanuach b'shalom al mishkava, V'nomar. Amen. Compassionate God, eternal Spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence Phoebe Frances Kerness, who has entered eternity. O God of mercy, let her find refuge in the shadow of your wings, and let her soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is her inheritance. May she rest in peace. And let us say, Amen. You may be seated. My Hereafter by Juanita DeLong. Do not come when I am dead to sit beside a low green mound, or bring the first gay daffodils because I love them so. For I shall not be there. You cannot find me there. I will look up at you from the eyes of little children. I will bend to meet you in the swaying boughs of bud-thrilled trees and caress you with the passionate sweep of storm-filled winds. I will give you strength in your upward tread of everlasting hills. I will cool your tired body in the flow of the limpid river. I will warm your work-glorified hands through the glow of the fire. I will soothe you into forgetfulness to the drop of the rain on the roof. I will speak to you out of the rhymes of the masters. I will dance with you in the lilt of the violin and make your heart leap with the bursting cadence of the organ. I will flood your soul with the flaming radiance of the sunrise and bring you peace in the tender rose and gold of the after sunset. All of these have made me happy. They're part of me. I shall become part of them. May those who mourn find comfort in the hope that though the dust returns to the earth as it was, the spirit returns to God who gave it. Death is not the end. Those we love have passed through the gateway of the grave into the peace of life eternal. We know that all of us must tread the same path, though we know not when the hour may come. So let us live such that the coming of that hour shall find us unafraid. May our deeds do honor to the memory of our beloved, whom you, God, have taken to yourself. Trusting in your wisdom and loving kindness, we rise now as we praise your name with the words of Kadosh. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'yalma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayei v'yomei uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei dekudsha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechemata ta'amiran ba'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shalom Rabbah min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'imromah hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. May the source of peace and peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved. And let us say, Amen. You may be seated. Oseh shalom b'imromah hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru. Amen. We come now to that most difficult and poignant of rituals in Jewish tradition, putting earth into the grave, which we do because we know it's the highest and kindest mitzvah we can, to be among those who help a loved one to find eternal rest and eternal peace. Of course, we do it with the deepest reticence and pain. So one of the ways we've come to capture those dueling emotions in Jewish tradition is to invert the shovel, use the back of the shovel so we only get a little bit of earth, that's the reticent part, but to do it 3 times, which affirms our willingness. There are other ways of performing the ritual well. Whatever you choose, of course, is absolutely fine. We're going to invite Jules to go first, and then we'll follow with the rest of the family. On behalf of all who can't be here today, her grandchildren, other family members, and friends, I do so on your behalf. It's my honor now to invite Jay to share a few words of appreciation.
Just wanted to add a few words for the family. I'll project. On Wednesday, I think, lost track, we all got on the Zoom with Rabbi, and we all shared very happy and very warm memories of Mom. And I think you did a great job reflecting that and sharing that for us. It was kind of, there's a lot coming from all of us from a whole bunch of different angles. And so I want to thank Rabbi for that. And I also want to thank everybody for your own reaching out. Phone calls, texts, Facebook posts. Everybody shared what made them smile and brought a smile to their face about Mom. From when she was a kid and growing up, to when we were kids back in Delmar, to time in Savannah. I mean, everybody brought their warm memories and happiness and great thoughts about Mom. And we want to thank you all for sharing that, because it really meant a lot. It helped us all smile, and it helped us, frankly, give Rabbi a lot of fodder for a really nice tribute. The last time I spoke at a funeral was for Dan, and hard to believe that was 7 years ago now. Dan's passing was sudden, and it was a shock. Mom's passing was also sudden, but I just have to add for everybody that it was a comfort in many ways, because the mom, the Phoebe that we have the fond memories of, was not the same Phoebe from the last couple of years. And I want us all to think back and cherish who she was and what she brought to us and gave smiles to our face. And I want to repeat what Debbie said, which was that she really looked at peace. And I think that this, in very many ways, is comfort and peace for Mom. So, yes, sudden, and yes, very, very sad, but also an element of peace for all of us. So, lots of love, strange times, but this is actually, for everyone who put the funeral together, this is really wonderful in a surprisingly close COVID sort of way. So, thank you to everyone who joined us today, and I'll just close with saying what Pop would say if he came up here, which was just to repeat what Rabbi said, that Mom was his soulmate, his best friend, and the love of his life. And Dad, we're all here for you. So, anyway, thank you, everybody.
I just want to say to everyone at home, we love you and thank you for being with us virtually. And my prayer is that by her unveiling, perhaps we could all be together and mourn her properly, because I see in all these missing seats, I see you, Aunt V. You should be here with your little sister and all of our cousins and our kids and friends, and I hope next year when we unveil, you can all be with us. We love you.
Though these are not traditional times, we close with traditional words. May God console you, all of you, among all who mourn in Zion and Jerusalem, as we return to life, carrying with us always love, which is eternal, and go in peace. Amen.